Hello and welcome to another episode of I Have Too Many Damn Servers. In this episode we're going to focus on the following. We have here my main server, which is long overdue for an upgrade. We're going to look at that in another episode. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different PCs / possible servers that could be used for a different purpose rather than gathering dust in my basement. So the main focus of this video is to build in this small case cubicle case PC a new homelab server for my parents, and I'm gonna take maybe some of the components of the other servers, put it in there, see what we can make and see how well it will run, and maybe this would be more than sufficient to fulfill their needs, mainly photos, documents. So I'm thinking something like Immich and Nextcloud and maybe a password manager. So here's what's going to be the PC of my parents. We have here an ASRock QC5000, probably micro ITX, passively cooled. Well, it used to be passively cooled until I installed this fan. This is my very first home server, so a lot of history with this one. And what I want to do now is to install a power supply in it, something a little bit more efficient. I have one here, and we're gonna take it from there, see how this PC will perform. So let's take a look. Okay, one eternity later, we have HexOS running on this PC. Therefore, I have an IP to which I have to connect. And let's see how we're gonna set this up. Hardware part is mostly over. If there are no issues, we're gonna go into software. Alright, so here we are on HexOS. This is what they call the deck. Now, first time trying to log in, of course, incorrect username and password. Wow.
A few moments later.
Alright, we're in. Now, let's see if my server is being detected or not. I mean, I know that the server is up and running. I can see it. The question is, why isn't this detecting it? The device is on the same network. Here is it. Having troubles. I am having troubles. It has an internet connection. So I'm trying to understand what's happening here, because I can see the server being up and running. Absolutely no issue. I just wonder, why is this thing not detecting it? What's wrong? Looking for servers. Why you cannot detect it? It is on the same goddamn network.
2,000 years later.
Okay, so it seems like I have no idea how to make HexOS work. This is a really strange bug, or I'm doing something wrong. I try to fix and to play around with the settings on the DNS side here under HexOS. No luck. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. I have disabled Pi-hole on my network. I thought, okay, maybe Pi-hole would block something. No, this simply doesn't want to work. So I'm very close to giving up on this lovely beta NAS operating system, for which I paid quite a lot of money, if you ask me, for a beta. And maybe I'll consider a different one. I'm gonna give it another half an hour of trying to troubleshoot, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna try to see what other options are there.
One eternity later.
So, trial number 2. We gonna try ZimaOS. At least this one doesn't say that it's in beta. So with this operating system, I hope that I will be able to create a working server, maybe today. So, account is created. Meanwhile, Zima client decided to open as well. Alright, so let's see. We have storage. We have CPU, RAM. Alright. We'll set up remote access later. First things first, let's create some storage. It seems like we only have one option, obviously, since we have just 2 drives. They will be mirrored. So alright, and now we wait for the RAID to be created. Oh, that was fast. Okay, so this is the files client. I can see that we have a couple of folders created by default on the hardware where we install the operating system. This is the SSD probably. And then we have our main storage in here. I will leave this for a while as it is. I'm curious about the apps. Let's see. The most important thing for me here is Immich. And we have a bunch. What's the difference between them? I don't know.
One eternity later.
So, welcome back. After one long weekend of frustration, I think I managed to make some progress on this goal of mine. So, where this started was to build a server for my parents that they can use. The problem there is that I hit a wall basically at every single step when it comes to software. Hardware, it went relatively fine. So there's no issue here. This was solved. Software-wise, this was interesting. My first try was HexOS. This was supposed to be the go-to operating system for beginners when it comes to NASes, right? The problem with this is that the install went through successfully. I was able to access TrueNAS using the web UI, but HexOS has this deck where you detect your server and then you assume that server and you consume one license. The problem here is that it needs internet to do this, which, okay, fine, no problem. I have internet. This should work, I thought to myself, but under no circumstances I was able to make this thing to work. And I tried to troubleshoot for quite a while. I thought, okay, this is the issue. I have Pi-hole, I have millions of domains which are being blocked. I'm going to disable this. No, obviously it was not that. Next, I tried to disable a setting on my Cloud Gateway Max, namely secure DNS using Quad 9. If you don't know what Quad 9 is, check them out. They're probably the best out there when it comes to DNS. So this, I disabled this as well. Next, I disable AdBlocker. Still, I could not get this thing to work. There is an option to say, okay, if this thing is not working, try to enter the IP address. Now, enter manually the IP address of TrueNAS, right? So I tried to do this. Which IP address? I tried local, then so something like this, 192.168 dot whatever, and no success. Then I tried to I checked some documentation on HexOS, and I understand that I need to enter my van IP address. I tried that too. So I went to a website, what's my IP, right? Get the public IP address, enter that, absolutely nothing. So after about 6 hours of this shenanigans, trying to install an operating system that was extremely promising, I decided to give up on it. Although I paid licenses for this, right? Could not make it work, what's the point? So then I decided to try for the first time HexOS, which I have to say, a lot of the NAS operating systems are in trouble because of this. This is somehow awesome. For a beginner, I think it cannot get easier than this. It has quite a lot of out-of-the-box products that you can use, basically the very basic of a NAS, document storage, gallery, and so on. And it also has some the possibility to install Docker containers on it. So my goal here would be to try to create on this HexOS what I call, let's say, a minimum viable server, right? What is the very basic that my parents need? So in here, what I decided to focus on is the following. I will take care of Tailscale. So this is VPN. I want to have Cloudflare. So I want to have Immich for photos. I would like to have Vaultwarden for password manager. And I would like to have Nextcloud for documents. This is the very, very basic thing that I need. Of course, here, this, I'm going to make it in combination with the domain. All right, so adventure begins. Let's take a look at what we have in HexOS. I tried to install these applications. I did install every single one of them. Now, the tricky part is, guess which one of it was the most difficult to sort out? If your bet was on Nextcloud, you are right. Nextcloud was probably the most complicated thing to install on this setup. Why? Because this is not necessarily a Nextcloud issue. This is more of an issue of every single NAS, right? If you're trying to do the same thing on Unraid, you're going to probably hit more or less the same things. If you're trying to do the same thing on TrueNAS, you're going to hit the same issues. And namely, this app store, although it looks like a install and use, click install use, it's not like that for many of these applications. So what I found is the following. If I'm looking for Nextcloud, for example, I have a bunch of options here. And for example, if I take the first one, I don't click install, but I just look at custom install. Here, what it will install, it's simply Nextcloud, and that's it. Nextcloud cannot function only with the Nextcloud container. I mean, it could if you set up a database of Nextcloud, which I think is using SQLite if I'm not wrong, but it's not really best practice. It's somehow smarter to have a separate database, especially something that is a little bit more modern, like Postgres. So if we look here, this developer, which also has a YouTube channel, put together some containers or packages of containers. I don't know exactly what to call this, but in this package I get Nextcloud database, right? I get Nextcloud and I get Redis. So this somehow works, meaning that it installs everything. But you are hitting a wall if you do not have one configuration done, which is this thing. So what it looks here as something relatively straightforward, if you don't understand exactly the steps, this can be tricky. And it was tricky for the following reason. If I try to follow those instructions and I go to my main storage, I go to app data, I go to Nextcloud, HTML, config, I know that I have to modify this file, right? So here, I do not have a way to modify this file. I can click on it, it opens the files app, module, whatever you want to call it from HexOS, opens this file. It allows me to go in here and to, for example, modify something. Let's assume that I'm doing a modification here, just a random IP address. I close this thing, but of course it didn't ask me to save it. So if I open it, that line is completely gone. Okay, so how do I modify this PHP file without having to go through a line or interface? So the question is, how do I modify this file? One option would be I download, I modify the file, I can open it with any text editor, I modify the file, and then I upload it again. That's exactly what I did. The problem with this is that when you upload and overwrite the file, it changes the permissions on this particular file. And the Nextcloud needs to write into these files. So, of course, then you have to go to change the permissions. So, one way or another, you end up going and doing this into a command line. When you go here, there's another hidden setting. SSH is not enabled by default. So if you want to enable, you have to go to General, Developer Mode, View, and enable SSH. What will this do? It will allow you, for example, using this, to log in and to modify that file or to change the permissions for that particular file. So if I would have to do that, how do I do this? So I'm trying to go to, let's see what we have in this folder. Yeah, so Big Bear Nextcloud. What do we have in here? HTML. So I'm interested in HTML. Config. I think here is where we should have the config.php file, right? Now, let's see if this one has nano. There we go. So one way to modify this would be to use nano, right? And to allow to modify this this line. And here you have to enter the IP address of your Zima server. And then you exit, save, and then that's it. If you decided to, instead to download this file locally, modify it, upload it again, you would have in here to use chmod, I think 777 for config.php, probably with a sudo as well. Yes, and then, and only then, Nextcloud will work. It took me a while to understand this, and yeah, it's not an easy step if you're a beginner. It's not something that is straightforward if you don't know Linux at all, but it's doable. So this was tricky. When it comes to Immich, this is relatively straightforward as well. When it comes to Vaultwarden, this can be tricky because sometimes can give you an error when it comes to HTTP, right? HTTP and HTTPS. I think in the latest version of Vaultwarden, you are required to use HTTPS, and when you have the first time you have a local installation, you try to access this locally, you'll have this error message that is telling you you need to connect via HTTPS. How I managed to solve that was Cloudflared, create a tunnel, enforce HTTPS, let Cloudflare handle the HTTPS certificates and so on. So that was a relatively easy thing to get out of setting this HTTPS locally here with certificates and so on, right? Because I want this to be accessible via the internet. Actually, all of them I want to be accessible via the internet. The problem with Immich in Cloudflare is that there's a limitation. You cannot simply back up your whole photo libraries because you will hit the limitations of Cloudflare. This costs money. They need to make money. Of course, the free plan will not allow you to do this, but you could connect locally to Immich and back up everything, right? So that works quite well. So this is it. It took me 2 days to build this. There's still a little bit of tinkering here and there. I still had some issues with the storage pool. I did like a hard reset on the server, and I lost access to my main storage after I set everything up, which was lovely to start all over again. But it was quite a nice learning experience. And if more and more applications are making their way to this app store, and if somehow the developers and HexOS can come up with an easy way to solve all the networking problems, this would be awesome. Because the main issue with most of these applications sits with the network layer, and if you're trying to expose these applications via the internet, right? You're gonna have all kinds of errors when it comes to HTTP, when it comes to the IP address. If for whatever reason you take this server and you move it to another location, which is exactly what I'm trying to do with this one. I'm configuring this Nextcloud and all these applications in my house, and I want to send this to my parents. My parents will have a different IP address for Nextcloud, and of course it will not work. Yeah, we will have to change the same file that I showed you earlier. And not only that, I will probably also have to change all the settings in Cloudflare so that the subdomains that I created will point to the right services in here with the right IP address. So that's it for now on this particular project. It was kind of a roller coaster here, especially with HexOS in the first part of the video. I really hope that they get their stuff together, and because they have some real competition when it comes to entry-level NAS operating systems. And I really hope that HexOS will make it. This sounds really good, and this is free. This is completely free. They have a paid option as well. Well, now it's called ZimaOS, right? I probably referred to HexOS, to the system as HexOS for quite a number of times in this video, but nevertheless, you get 4 disks for $0. You get 4 disks. I paid 99 cents in the first week when HexOS was announced, and 2 years later I could not get it working with any disks. So even for $29, a lifetime license, this is probably one of the best entry-level offers that is out there. Personally, I'm using in my homelab Unraid. I've been an Unraid user for years. I am a big fan. But Unraid will have a lot of competition when it comes to entry-level users, right? Because there is no way somebody that I'm trying to convince to build their own home lab, to stop paying Google, Amazon, and Dropbox and so on a monthly fee, they will consider going and spending hundreds of dollars for an Unraid license. Don't get me wrong, Unraid is awesome. I still love it. I would pay them the money, and if I would have to build a second server for myself, I would definitely go with Unraid. But if they are trying to break into the market of end users who never had a NAS before, Unraid needs to change something in their pricing, because there is nothing that beats this currently on the market. So that's it for now. I hope you learn something from this, from my mistakes. I hope you will be able to consider building a small home lab server for your parents. As you can see, this is nothing super fancy. It's a pretty low power server. I'm gonna include some of the stats of the server as well. Thank you very much. I'll see you back with another video.